everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Indie Venture. This episode, we're discussing our Game of the Year picks. This is an old script.
I'm keeping that in. I'm keeping that in. Are you kidding me?
That's
amazing. So funny. You said it took you like just a little bit too long to realise that I thought you were doing a bit.
Yeah, I know. I was like, sorry, there's going to be like a little delay on me because I really was waiting for the bit to like hit.
I don't think I've ever blown my audio out like I just did there laughing at that. Holy shit.
That is so today's energy. That is incredible.
It really is.
Hello everyone again, and welcome back to another episode of Indie Venture. This episode, it's a mailbag episode, not Game of the Year. And so today we're going to be answering all of your burning indie game questions. But before that, let me introduce my co-hosts. I'm joined here today with the lovely Rebecca Jones.
Hello.
And Liam Richardson.
Hello. Well, she's lovely and I'm nothing.
No, lovely is in co-host lovely.
Oh, both of us. I was about to say.
I'm vulnerable. I'm vulnerable.
You are. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We're all just... we're just a little bit highly strung today.
And the amazing Rachel Watts.
Thank you. And the lovely everyone. And yes, today it's a mailbag episode. I'm so looking forward to answering all these, quite frankly, unhinged questions that...
Yeah, you guys really went above and beyond this time. This is great.
For sure. And yes, for future episodes, if you'd like to send us questions, you can do so at our email, which is contact@indieventurepodcast.co.uk. But the best place to have a look at these questions, maybe in advance or put your own in, is on our Discord, Indie Venture Podcast. It is that is the Discord name. It's really great. I'm having such a good time in there. Everyone is super friendly. There are so many good recommendations. So jump in there and have a look at that. And yeah, we have a chat which is just dedicated to listener questions. So you might already know which ones are coming up today or not, because there were loads. So we won't get through them all, but we're going to try and get through as many as we can. And I'm very much... These questions are good. I'm feeling really good about this. When we did our first mailbag, we had a really nice group of questions, but like I feel like people are more comfortable now. So the questions,
definitely,
absolutely, yep.
So the questions coming are really, really good. So yes, let's dive into the mailbag. Whoa, look at this big bag of mail. It's got lots of letters.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
sorry.
Wait.
That was like the flattest bit of acting I've ever done. I'm sorry. Can we take that again?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
Nope.
Okay,
that's the line. We got it. Cut.
No, we got it. One take. Get out of here.
Look at all these letters I have.
Oh my goodness. There are physical papers. There's a prop. There's everything. It's...
Ooh. This letter is from... Is that enough? I'm going to stop. This is actually all my passwords. Better put that up.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
I'm old school. I write all my passwords down.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then when I joined...
That feels like an important bit of Rachel law to just randomly drop on us.
Yeah, and then when I joined Thinky, Joe was like, you need a password manager. And I was like, no, I don't. I just write all mine down on this piece of, several bits of paper, which I've had for years, literally years. And I just add one and I cross them out. It's the safest way. I don't trust anything.
Yeah, I don't trust the banks. I just keep my money under my duvet.
That was the exact analogy that I was about to come out with. I'm like, is that too much?
I bury my gold in my garden. Yeah. Okay,
wow.
let's start with the question. This one is from Shay, bestie Shay of the podcast.
Yes.
And they ask, I love this question. You talked about TV shows that need a disclaimer of you just need to get so far, e.g. BoJack Horseman. Are there any games you recommend that have similar disclaimers? Which is a really good question.
It's a great question.
So, do you guys have what comes to mind?
I mean, I feel like this is kind of endemic in all of the really dense visual novels that I play, because there's always a very anime-esque aspect to that whole rhythm of storytelling, and you do find yourself being like, just like you gotta kind of like let the first 10 hours wash over you, and just try not to think. And then once that's out, and like I feel like that is a really common visual novel thing. And actually, recently I've been playing like shorter, like rounds-based visual novels again. Like I was playing Slay the Princess again yesterday, and checking out the new Monster Prom.
Oh yeah.
And both of those have even though they're like quite short, sort of 2-hour rounds, I feel like there is still that, oh yeah, but it really hits when you get to like your 6th or 7th playthrough, and you
God.
you really start to understand the deeper lore at work. And yeah, so most things I like generally, I feel like this is a specifically me problem sometimes.
So yours is like they're too long. Your disclaimer was like they are long games.
Yeah, it's always like, I always want to recommend like these really big visual novels to people, but I always hesitate because we're all time poor. And it's such a big ask of someone to say, look, you might not like this for the first few hours, but for like the entire length of a more sensible game, you may not know if you're going to like this or not.
Yeah.
But eventually, like it'll hit at about the 15-hour mark, and then you'll know whether you want to go up to hour 100. And that's just like such a huge ask of people.
That's a good one.
As a genre,
It's a
visual
really
novels
good
do that
one.
a lot, I think.
Yeah. I feel like my attention span caps at 25 to 30 hours.
It's reasonable. It's perfectly reasonable time to want to spend with a game.
Yeah.
It was like an IGN review back in the day for, I think, Final Fantasy 13, and it earnestly said you need to stick with it for the first 30 hours and then it gets amazing.
No.
And I remember being like, what?
You know what?
It might not be an IGN, but like it was some review at that time.
This might be a little bit behind the scenes, a bit slanderous, but recently a lot of people, not me,
Oh.
so I feel like I can say it, but a lot of people that I work with have been covering the latest Monster Hunter, and I've been hearing a lot of that about the latest Monster Hunter. They're
really?
just get through the story, just like 20 hours of story, just get through the story. It's all about the end game. And I'm like, no,
Oh my God.
absolutely not, please.
Unfortunately, I read those reviews and I went, haha, yes.
Yeah, I know.
Brilliant.
See,
I can't
because-
wait. 20 hours in, sign me up.
Because it's all for someone, right? That's what's beautiful
Yeah.
about this. Is
Right.
it's all for someone, but not necessarily for each of us.
Absolutely.
What about you, Liam? What are your disclaimers?
Yeah. I have a few for these. I feel like the hill I always die on is Deadly Premonition, a video game that is not good, but I absolutely adore, and that I hated for like the first 5-6 hours. But I think the abrasiveness makes it so lovable, and by the end, you're like, no, it's the shooting is shit. 90% of the game is shit. You won't have a good time playing it, but it's so worth it.
Oh God,
Is kind of how I feel like with that. I feel like a recent example is maybe Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I think
Ooh, interesting.
that game buries the lead about what it is for the first like 2-3 hours, and then when you finally get to the first level, you start to really understand what it is. But it goes from like breakneck speed to very slow, and I can imagine that being quite jarring for some people.
Oh.
Also, I've got a bit of a rogue choice here, pun. But I sort of feel like Vampire Survivors is a bit of like a weird recommendation, because I feel like it does get incredible about 60 to 70 hours in.
Oh my God.
Like, once you're 3 expansion packs deep and you're, in the end game, you really start to see the nuances of what they've got there. But yeah, I feel like that's like, for the first hour or two, you're like, wow, this is really fun. And by hour 70, you're like, no, I need to do this exact thing to get the one achievement I haven't got yet.
Oh my God.
Oh, dear.
So those are my
That is a rogue
picks.
one. One of mine has to do with length, and not that it's too long, but you don't expect it to be that long, which is Spiritfarer. I feel like I tell Spiritfarer to everyone. I'm like, such a cozy game, it's a great story, and you look at the art style, and you're like, okay, so 7 to 8 hours. I'm no, this game is for an indie of this like that looks this way. That is a solid 20-hour RPG that you'll be playing and be expected to be punched in the heart once or twice. Kentucky Route Zero, because it's weird. I feel like it's one of my favorite games, but my massive caveat is that it is weird. The pacing is slow. Like, and not with me, it's like, don't stick with it, but it's like, if you don't enjoy it within the first hour, it's not for you. So just drop it. That would be my caveat.
That's a good point.
And same with Proteus as well. With Proteus, I'm like, it's not a game, kind of ish. So he's like, oh, I love this game. It's one of my favorite games. And someone's like, oh, I really want to play it. I'm like, now listen. Listen here. I know I've just gone on about how much I love this game, but it's not for everyone. You probably shouldn't play it. It's not really a video game, but or is it? And I just circle. So those are mine.
Fantastic.
But this idea of like, oh, after, because with TV, it's like after, with like Shay said, BoJack, we've talked about that a lot. The first 5 episodes, you're locked in, you're good to go. With a video game though, if it is like, if something doesn't grab me within an hour, I'm probably am not. So this idea of like, oh, just get through maybe the first hour or 2 hours. But if someone was like, oh yeah, just play the first 10 hours or 20 hours, I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
20 hours.
There's nothing I can think of that going in with that recommendation would get me excited, to be honest.
Yeah.
No.
Like,
but I guess there's a difference, right, between like, so the Monster Hunter thing is the reviews I read today, which dropped today. They said, oh yeah, it's 20 hours to sort of get out of the tutorial. So if you're a Monster Hunter like,
Rachel's
fan,
face.
but then the tutorial is like a story-led campaign.
The entire
and
campaign,
it's like,
yeah.
So it's sort of like, I get it. Like, I think as a Monster Hunter fan, I'll enjoy those 20 hours and then I'll get to the bit that I'm a sicko for. But like with Deadly Premonition, like you will not enjoy it for like 5-6 hours. And I think that for me is the difference, right? Like, there's plenty of games I've played that are like 80 hours that I've enjoyed from the off, but have increased in power as they go on. But yeah.
I definitely talked about this on the podcast before, but when I was playing Assassin's Creed, oh God, the Greek one in ancient Greece.
Odyssey?
That was what it was called. Yeah.
No,
the Greek one.
Sorry, ruined it.
No. Odyssey. And I played like 7 hours, got off the first island, and then the credits appeared. And I was like, no, play it again.
Yeah, the only Assassin's Creed I've played for any length of time is Valhalla. And it was a very similar thing. I was like, I felt like I've been going forever. And then I
just like
left Denmark and got to England. I was like, oh my God. And it comes up with I'm like, that was the pre-credit. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Bit
thank
much.
you. Thanks for the question, Shay. That was a good one.
Yes, thank you, Che. Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you.
So I have the next question, which I'm very happy you gave this to me, Rachel. I have no idea why. So this is from Customize Your Dad. Thank you for this. I did see this in the Discord when it was posted and it properly made me laugh.
Liam told us about it at the time, I believe.
Yes.
Like brought it to our attention. So we've had quite a while to think about this one.
So Customize Your Dad says, if you woke up one day and you were a tiny little mealworm just lying on the pillow, 1, would your indie video game crush treat you right? And 2, which indie video game character would be the most caring? Who would like to go first on this one?
I think first we need to establish who everyone's singular indie video game crush is. Like, there's ground rules to this one, surely.
Okay, so my most recent... I can't believe I'm going to say this on the podcast.
Hello.
My most recent video game crush is... what's his name? The voice from I Am Your Beast.
The voice!
Oh my God, yes!
Just the voice.
Alphonse Harding.
Alphonse Harding. I've had crushes in the past, right? Like, oh yeah, the lady from On Guard, hot pirate lady, obviously. But there's just something about, and obviously it's Sullivan, who you've talked to, Liam, and we've had on the podcast. So I just feel a bit weird, but his voice is so hot in that game.
It's the character, isn't it?
Exactly. You're fine.
Yeah. It's so hot. And no, and he would not. He'd crush me. He wouldn't treat me right.
He would. I think he would treat you right.
Liam, I think he would kill me on sight. Like,
but
slap.
The whole setup for the game is that the soldiers kill a bird, like part of nature, and that makes them snap.
But I'm a little mealworm. I'm not a little bird.
The bird would kill the mealworm, surely.
I feel like I'm a gross
really existential question.
I do feel like he would ping me off the pillow.
What it does, like the X that it does in the game when you kill someone.
Oh yeah, he'd drop a fucking beehive on me.
In my head, you're like the worm from Labyrinth. and you're like, hello,
God.
Mr. Hardin.
Oh my God, I would.
You got such a nice voice.
If I was like that, I'd be so embarrassed. I would just leave. I couldn't let him see me like that. Well, he's a voice. He's a disembodied voice, so I don't know what he looks like. But I couldn't let this disembodied, gassy ghost voice person hear me. Or see me. If I would punch myself if I looked like that little worm.
Into oblivion.
Yeah. So I think
Wow.
mine is no. I do think he would not treat me right, but that's okay.
Oh, wow.
Incredible. Incredible. I have never seen you like this, and it's so
I know, right?
good. It's the best.
God, I'm so embarrassed. This is a safe space. How about you both?
This is a safe space.
Circle of trust. Circle of trust.
Circle of
Yeah.
trust.
Who's yours, Rebecca?
So I also have an very on-brand method of determining who my singular video game crush would be, which is whoever I married myself off to in The Sims the most.
Okay.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
By this scientific method, I've determined that my video game crush is still Seven from Boyfriend Dungeon, who I romanced so much
Okay.
when that game came out a few years ago. Because he's just lovely in so many ways.
Yep.
Would he treat me right? I don't think he'd be into it. But at the same time, he has got to have a lot of sympathy for people who just transform into things quite randomly, because that's his whole story.
Oh,
That's a really good
that's
point.
good.
Yeah.
Like, he sometimes turns into a laser saber, and now we found out apparently I sometimes turn into a tiny little mealworm. Like, that's just how life is. So I think that he would not be, like, thrilled, but he would be understanding and, like,
That's a
good
supportive
one.
of it as something that I was going through, but not something that I enjoyed.
I like
Really.
that. That's a good answer.
That is a good answer, yeah.
What about you, Liam?
Well, mine, predictably, say the line, Liam, is Haley from Stardew.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Either her regular or goth variant. She'd kill me. I'd probably like it. So part 2 of the question is, which indie video game character would be the most caring? Rachel, what's your answer for that?
I don't have one. I literally
I know,
went
this is
through
so
everyone.
hard.
One.
I went through a lot of game characters and went, they would, like, that is my crush, or would be a crush. I'd be like, they'd kill me. They'd kill me. They'd probably kill me. They'd kill me. Well, if we're talking Stardew, maybe Harvey, my choice in Stardew, I think he would take
Yeah.
good care.
Yeah.
But a lot of mine are just like, she would stomp on me, he would ping me like off the pillow, or like slap me, or get a book, a rolled up newspaper, and slap me. Yeah, so I didn't have a lot for this one. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you the same, Rebecca?
I kind of struggled with this one because, like, there are a lot of, I think there are a lot of characters who are like quite caring about nature in video games, and like, obviously we all play a lot of like gardening and farming games. And there's a lot of like, but the only thing I could think when trying to think of like the definitive answer, I just got really stuck on the bit in Thank Goodness You're Here with the I'm a worm, and I was like, they have a whole society. There's like a whole discussion about like a quite obviously sociable and interconnected worm society. So maybe to join that society would be, I mean, am I permanently a little mealworm? Is that, that's quite important. But anyway, yeah, go and join.
Customize Your Dad didn't say. So Customize
Yeah.
Your Dad, get back in touch and let us know what
Yeah,
our
please.
fate is. Is it permanent or temporary?
Because if it's permanent, I'm moving in with the worms in the well, and thank goodness you're here, because at least there'll be others like me.
Yeah,
I
that
like
is a
that.
good idea.
I did think that one is an answer.
Nice. We're so in touch. We're so
We are, aren't we? Because I was on the meme bullshit, my first thought was, oh, should I put Bjorn from Peggle in here?
Oh,
But then when I really thought about it, Bjorn just like, not only does he accept the little freaks of the animal kingdom, but he also gives them jobs at Peggle Academy and makes them grandmasters. So I'd have a career if I was a mealworm and Bjorn was looking after us.
That's
So I think
amazing.
that is a good answer.
I actually
But just so
really
I'm
like
not, thank you.
Really
But just so
like
I'm not resting on my tired meme laurels, I do also want to say that I've been playing quite a lot of Rusty's Retirement recently while editing podcasts, because it's quite a nice like background thing. This is the desktop buddy where you build a little farm on the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
And I think Rusty from Rusty's Retirement, this elderly robot that just looks after nature,
Very
he would
cute.
accept me. He'd let me
Oh,
live at the bottom
yeah.
of my screen.
Yeah, that is a good one. Yeah. Freak army.
I really loved it. That was great.
Yes.
We've learned so much about ourselves, about which video game characters would care for worms. It's been great.
Yeah.
Incredible.
True. Thank you, Customize Your Dad. Great question.
Great. Love the name as well.
Great username, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
Great.
hold on,
So
is that
good.
is that a Dream Daddy reference? Now we need more information.
Ooh,
I
could
don't
be.
Get in touch.
Anyway, our next question is from Chris Lawn. Thank you, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Who asks, if you could choose 3 indie game characters to take with you on a The Hangover style trip, who would they be and why? Now, we had a little talk about this one before we started recording because I had a slightly different interpretation of this one to Liam and Rachel. I interpret it as we choose one person each. They've both picked 3. So I might go first with my first pick and desperately try and work out if I can think of 2 more while we then send it around you guys.
Sure.
So my pick was Fortuna from Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood for 2 reasons, primarily. One is that I feel that like something like tarot is the kind of like quirky skill that would like, but actually quite common, but still kind of quirky skill that would lead to some road trip shenanigans that are like within the level of will survive. I mean, unless you like pay too much attention to what goes off in Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood, but like just assume it's like regular-ish tarot. I feel like, you know, there is the tarot girly. If you're having a girly hangover road trip, is probably a pretty essential part of the crew. Second point, she can canonically drive, which I thought actually I can't drive. So the road trip crew.
Of all the characters that can canonically drive.
Right, you see her drive a van and she can read tarot. So those are the 2 skills. And she can make pizza from scratch.
Funny.
That's 3 skills. She makes pizza from scratch in her van, which has a pizza oven in it.
Does.
So I think that makes her a pretty perfect road trip companion.
Well, okay, so my group, I'm calling them the Screaming Queens.
Oh my goodness.
I've got
yes.
Lady Love Dies from Paradise Killer. I've got the Duchess, who's the demon from Thank Goodness You're Here. And then all 3 of the twinks from Mediterranean Inferno. And if we're all queer, we're all messy, it's a riot, but I honestly don't think any of us can drive. So we're just sitting there in the car, being like, none of us can drive, pals.
Sorry. Me and Fortuna roll up in the pizza van like you are.
Us, just like a gaggle of queers in the car being like, so...
we tow you on our food truck. This would be great.
I love how the twinks from Mediterranean Inferno are a collective entity.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so good.
Oh, that's so funny.
Who's in your hangover style road trip, Liam?
Well, I took this maybe a bit too literally, so I thought about the 3 archetypes from the movie The Hangover.
Oh, okay.
You know what? I actually don't think I've seen The Hangover, so I was at a disadvantage.
I also haven't either.
You're not missing out.
Okay.
You need the Bradley Cooper. You need the hot, cool leader.
Okay.
I don't know the name of the other 2 people, so I don't know why I mentioned Bradley Cooper by name, but let's roll with it. You need like the straight-edged peacekeeper, played by Andy from The Office. Okay. And you need the Chaos Goblin, your man from Between Two Ferns, right? So
gotcha.
For my hot, cool leader, I went Meg from Hades. Like, very cool-headed. I think she'd be the leader of the trio. I assume I've gone missing in this situation. Again, you don't have... It doesn't matter. You haven't seen The Hangover. Who gives a shit?
I understand the basic premise. I know what's happening. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Brill. The straight-edged peacekeeper, I thought Detective Grimoire from the Grimoire detective games, like Tangletown, would be quite good at that.
Yeah.
Sort of like the panicky, but like still, middle of the road guy. And then for Chaos Goblin, I thought Greg from Night in the Woods.
Okay.
Which, when I've said them all out loud, I think those 3 together is quite.
Oh my god!
The trio.
I feel like they would kill each other. I feel like Meg and Greg is such a
Meg and Greg. I don't even think.
Oh, it's great. That's perfect.
But I said, like, I feel like she would kill him, and he would.
Yeah, probably.
All right.
Wait, isn't there a baby?
Definitely.
Who's the baby?
Oh, the baby. Oh, okay. So the first baby I just thought of there is the one from Edith Finch.
Oh
my god!
Oh my god, Liam!
I don't have any of the indie game babies. What's another indie game baby?
I was thinking of like the little guy from Thank Goodness You're Here and a papoose.
Brill.
That's what I was
let's
thinking.
do that. Let's go for that. That's
brilliant.
way less time.
Everybody stop thinking about the baby from What Remains of Edith Finch. And
if you know, you fucking know. If
I
you
know,
know.
Right? I know. Just like the trauma that descended on everybody just then. Oh my god. All right, I think I can probably finish my selection, rattle off the rest if you want to. Yeah.
Please do.
All right,
Please.
so, these were just the first 3 that came to my head, so this is going to be wild. But as I understand it, this is meant to be wild. So I feel like we've got cool leader covered. That's Fortuna, we've done that. I feel like for the person who's holding everything together, I just want to pick Detective Dale from Rusty Lake, because he's got
Nice.
that veneer of like, he's got the detective thing going on. Chaos Goblin, Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club. And what I like about that trio is they're all like seemingly quite placid, but could snap at any minute, which is why I think that the offset with the baby is the goose from Untitled Goose Game. Goose number 1. There
Goose
you go.
number 1. Love that.
There we have it.
Wow.
Jesus Christ. I'm not over that baby comment.
I know. I was really trying to divert our attention from it.
Well, it only gets more unhinged from here, because this next question is from Cbrupt. Thank you, Cbrupt, from our Discord. Cbrupt asked, what game character would you ask to help you hide a body? And maybe what game character are you burying? Hope it's not too weird.
Oh my!
I love the if it's not too weird.
Yeah, no, mine's weird, but I'm going to say it anyway. But you go first, Liam, while I build up.
Yeah, Liam. Who are you asking to help you hide a body? And bonus, whose body are you hiding?
I'm burying Tim.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah.
Tim the Terrible Boy from Braid. That's whatever. It's the meme. However, who am I getting to help me bury? Shovel Knight. Is there a better answer than Shovel Knight?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks,
Excellent.
everyone. Cheers.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
And with that, I retire from the podcast.
How about you, Rebecca?
Okay,
That's
so
a good one.
I'm going to start with who's helping me hide the body.
Yeah.
And the Shovel Knight answer is superb, but I think I might be almost able to at least come within range of that, because I decided the Power Washers from Power Wash Simulator, because they have got everything you need. They're already in full bodysuits, so they're hard to track. They can help you clean up the crime scene. They've got that big van. They've got a reason to be moving stuff around. It's all coming together. We're going to hide the body.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh my God. I feel bad about this one, but it was the only thing I could think of.
Can I guess?
Yeah, go on.
Ooh.
Is it the child from that Sherlock Holmes game?
It is. It's the only character I hate in like all of video games. The only character I have unremitting hate for in any video game I've ever played.
That's a good
hate
one.
her so much, and I wanted there to be an ending where you could just let her bloody die. And if in my head there is that ending, and then the Power Washers go back in time several, nearly 150 years, and just hose her off the side of that boat she's on.
You two and killing children this episode. I swear
Oh
to God.
no, that's the slander against Liam. I can't accept Liam being put in with me on that. Look, I just want to point out, one of my major problems with Caitlin from Sherlock Holmes, The Devil's Daughter, is that she is very obviously voiced by a full-grown woman trying to do a little girly voice, and therefore I think that this is just a regular murder, not a child murder. If we're talking about, the
Your Honor.
the spiritual guilt that I feel is that she just makes me think of like the orphan, and pottering around, being a little creeper.
Fair.
Yeah. Anyway, rest my case.
God.
I accept the charges.
So mine are I don't know who I'd kill. Probably Tim or Bjorn.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Slander. My beloved Bjorn.
No, I wouldn't kill Bjorn. It'd probably definitely be Tim, or I don't know if I really hate. I'm sure there is, but not enough that to include in this cute question. But who I'd enlist to help me hide the body. So I was thinking, like, how would I hide a body? Like, in what video game would it be best to hide a body in? And so Fez, how you can change the perspective of the world. I would get that little cute person. I would be like, switch the world up, and he'd be like, whoop, and then I'd chuck the body in one perspective. I'd be like, yeah, let's get out of here, and then he'd switch it back, and then we would leave, and then no one would know. It'd be
That's
literally in
genius.
another dimension. So me and the little Fez boy person thing. So yeah, and or I was thinking the lady from Overboard. What's her name?
Oh yeah,
Who's just like
Veronica.
Yeah. Oh, good pull. Who's just like killing everyone. And I also feel like Sans from Undertale would also like not even question why you've killed someone and just be like, let's go hide this body. Also, maybe Frog Detective. I don't know. I feel like Frog Detective.
Surely this is not.
Would Fraud Detective help you hide a body?
Yes, because I think if you framed it well enough, he wouldn't realize what he was doing.
There's a real innocence to Frog Detective that might.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you,
like
Cbrupt.
That was a lot of fun.
Great question.
That was a great one.
I got a great amount of joy from just watching Rebecca react to that question in real time. It was very, it was very nice. So the next one is from Marcus, or Dragon of Time. Hello, a long-time listener and liker of the podcast. So thank you, Marcus. They ask, if you could have an indie game made to order, but you can only describe it as Game X meets Game Y, which games would that be, and who would you want to develop it? So who wants to go first on this one?
This is a difficult one. Rebecca, can you go first?
I almost feel like I have to sit this one out because literally in part B of the episode, we're talking about the game that I manifested from this concept, which was I want the weird, dodgy Stephen King game adaptations, but make it good by making Dontnod make it. And they literally just released Lost Records. Yep, so
that is true. I do have an answer for this.
Go for it.
That's helpful. So I love this question. So I was trying to think of two things that I haven't really seen combined. And I was thinking, so what are like my two favorite genres, survival horror and detective games? And I was like, what if there was a like Resident Evil 2 meets Paradise Killer? So a survival horror, like a classic Resident Evil survival horror set in a city, but you're also a detective trying to solve a mystery at the heart of it. So you're running around this looping space finding clues, but you can end it at any point like Paradise Killer and get like lots of different endings based on how far you progress.
Cool.
So like the more of a survival horror sicko you are, the more you can like push through it and find more answers. And obviously I would want SFB games to make it because they're good at mysteries and at survival horror games. So that's my answer.
Yeah, see, that's so interesting because I had written down my two of my favorite genres, which was detective and cozy game, and then I was like, well, isn't that just Tangle Tower? So it's being made, and SFB are actually like So
we're just too good at predicting the good stuff.
Yeah. I do want more gardening games. I know we have a big gardening game kind of ish coming out later, in March with Wonderstop, but I kind of do want more games in which gardening and not farming, but specifically gardening is explored in an interesting way. And, this kind of mystery meets gardening, kind of like the horticulture game that you like, Rebecca.
Oh,
what was
Strange Horticulture, yeah.
Yeah. But then again, that was like, it's been done, so... I was trying to think of a good combo.
You're right, though. There is definitely room in the world for more than one gardening mystery.
Yeah.
And like Strange Horticulture does it like in a sense. It's kind of like there is a lot of scope, I think, between you run a weird plant shop and a garden. Like this is weird, but have you been to the poison garden in Alnwick?
No.
Yes.
Which I loved that, and like that is ripe for some sort of video game like interpretation, because like that whole, I remember I went a few years ago now, but I went literally on New Year's Day, so it was all really, everything was like all twisted, bare trees, and it was like very cold but a very sunny day and very beautiful, and we went on this tour of the poison garden, and that's an aesthetic and a vibe, and it's like literally they tell you about some murders and attempted murders and things while you're doing the tour. There's material there for what Rachel is asking for.
Yeah.
That's not really an X meets Y. Sorry, that was a bit of a tangent, but it was just a cool concept that's underexplored but not unexplored, I think.
Because I liked Grun obviously as like that was like gardening / horror, but I want this kind of like idea of like you're like potting a plant and then there's like you find a skull in the ground. Again,
in Grun, you're landscaping rather than you're not growing anything. So it's like again, why are we circling this? I want to plant something and it be spooky.
Yeah, spooky plant game.
I love that idea that it's just a straight up gardening game, but you're finding things in the garden that allows you to piece together a mystery.
Wasn't it announced recently? Now that I think about it, it's
really
something. Oh God, what's it called? If I touch anything on my setup, everything will fall over. But I feel like it's something like We Harvest Shadows or something like that.
We Harvest Shadows. That's a great name. If that's not a name, that came up straight away. Oh yeah.
An
emotional first-person narrative game with farming and horror elements.
I think I've seen someone play this.
That's more horror than detective. Again, if we're like, I'm trying to think of like,
and it's like
I've
farming.
seen a couple of horror farming games, but like detective, spooky, but not necessarily like full-on horror is still.
Yeah. Maybe that. But yeah, game X meets game Y. Anything with a detective sim, I'll fucking play it. Anything. Like, a racing game that's also a detective sim. Fuck it. Hell yeah. Absolutely.
I'd play that. I nearly put that as an answer.
Oh my God.
Really? Yeah. Racing game?
Just because I thought it was random. But I'd love more like detective mashups, like Murder by Numbers. I feel like Murder by Numbers is such fertile ground. But
yes.
Yeah.
Or maybe a creature collecting sim that's a detective game. Oh, Penco Park was kind of like that, but that's more Pokemon Snap than it is. That's the one where it's like the abandoned park. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question though. I just want more detective games that are like Blueprints. That was recently like a deck building detective.
Yeah, that is
Jesus. Wild combos going on there.
I've actually just thought of one because I played a game recently that I thought was going to be something and it turned out to be something else. And I was like, it was still good what it was. But it was that Moving Houses one that I think Liam, you recommended to me. And I liked it a lot, but it turned out to be more of like a linear narrative thing.
Oh,
whereas like what I thought it was going to be was more of a like almost like unpacking meets Power Wash Simulator then meets like sort of a spooky horror. And that the impression I got, I just was completely like, I interpreted the trailer wrong. I was like, I thought you were like going to run a moving company and then spooky things happened in the houses of other people as you were like moving their things around. And even though I liked the game Moving Houses, I kind of like came away with that itch for like, that would be cool though, if you could have, you're like running, you know, sort of like Moving Out is another example, I guess, of that, where you're actually like playing as like in a moving company, but then like more spooky haunted house stuff starts to happen.
Yes.
Yeah. Who should make that? Oh, that would definitely be like, that's a Dread XP game. That's
I was going to say.
We'll find the team
100%.
to do that 100%. So
yeah,
that would be mine for sure.
Nice. Good question.
All right, I've got the next question here from Sparks V or possibly Sparks 5 in Roman numerals.
Oh, yeah.
We simply don't know. And they ask, what indie games would you like to see expanded on with non-gaming media? Novels, shows, musicals, etc. Musicals is a really fascinating
Musicals
question.
Is a good one. So I've got a couple for this. My first one is Crow Country, but as an immersive horror experience.
Oh
my
wow.
God. That's a really good idea.
So like you get to go on the rides and stuff, but like, you know how in like Thorpe Park in the queue for Saw, there'd be like shit happening. And they just slap the words immersive experience onto it. I want that. And same with Locomotive, like, but it's like you're on a train and it's like it's a mystery immersive
like
experience,
one of those murder mystery
train.
Weekends, but on a train. That would be
on a train.
So cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Crypt Master as an escape room. Would love that.
That's
I love
fun.
that.
Yeah, I like that.
Love it.
And then I had Crypt Custodian as a cute kids cartoon. That's the one about the cat who's cleaning the underworld, which I played over Christmas.
I like that a lot.
Because that would make such a cute animation, and that would be fantastic. So yeah, those are mine. Although musicals, I really want to quickly try and think of musical where you guys talk because I missed that one out.
I feel like there's got to be some fertile ground.
Oh, Rift of the Necrodancer is a musical.
Ooh.
Oh, be standing up. That'd be great. That would be amazing.
I'm trying to think of what the most deranged game would be to turn into a musical. Maybe like To the Moon or something. Like a really sad narrative game.
I was thinking of Disco Elysium as a musical.
Oh shit!
That'd be great though, to be fair.
I would watch a history documentary on Disco Elysium. Like if that was like a historical documentary by Simon Sharma, I would watch the shit out of that.
That'd be a great way of expanding on the lore. Like do like a really like not tongue in cheek, like really serious. This is a history documentary.
That's funny. There's a podcast that I keep meaning to listen to that friend of the podcast Mick showed me, which is like a true crime podcast, but about video game criminals, which I thought was a great idea.
Oh
that's
my
such a good
God.
idea.
I need to look at what that is because it's a really cool idea, and I'm in a bit of a podcast drought at the moment, other than our excellent.
Shit, that's one of those ideas where it's like, I wish I'd fucking come up with that first.
Right?
I'm like, literally what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
What are we doing this for? That's such a good idea.
Fuck my life.
Just shamelessly steal it for a special episode. That's what we should do.
I have a Pizza Tower animated series. I think that would be really good.
Oh yeah.
Just short. I want no longer than 2-3 minutes.
I mean, I couldn't watch it, but it would be a great idea for sure.
Yes, it would give you a migraine immediately.
I was going to say, your 2 to 3 minutes, that's perfect amount.
Yeah,
like a music video length.
I put El Paso Elsewhere. I know it's getting a movie, but I just wanted to say I think that's a really good fit.
Nice.
I think it would be a great movie.
That is good.
I definitely read a book set in the Citizen Sleeper universe written by the creator. I think I would just enjoy that a lot.
Yeah.
And then this is a game I don't want to talk about too much because I'm going to save it, I think, when we do our 2024 revisited episode. But I have just finished Anthology of the Killer and I really loved that game. It was so good. And I would love to read like graphic novels or comics set in that universe and style.
It looks good for comics. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that game is, it's properly floored me, that game. I can't wait to talk a bit more about it. But it's like really stuck with me in a way that I find quite interesting. Yeah, I'm curious to see what you think of it, Rachel, when you play it.
Oh, yeah. It's on my list near the top.
Recommended by everyone in the Discord. If you want more recommendations, you've got to get in that Discord because they recommend games to me all the time.
So good. Yeah.
Did you have an answer?
Yeah, I basically came up with mine because I was going through my Steam playtimes list earlier today, and I realized that, like, obviously, like, we know I love Hades. Like, I'm the person who put it in the vault, I think. Like, Hades is so, like, iconic and great, and I love it. But it's also, as we have established, not exactly my genre. And it's definitely one of those games where I more enjoy thinking about the lore and, like, the world of it than I do actually playing. I do enjoy playing it a little bit, but it's like, I looked at my playtime. It's not as high as, like, some quite short games because I play it in little bites. And then I have this cycle with it where I'll play Hades for half an hour and then I'll go and reread like every Madeline Miller novel because that's kind of where my brain goes. And so I thought basically anything Hades that kind of like brought that story. I mean, it's a great story. That's the thing. It's such a good story that you could put it in any of those media and it would be like a logical expansion of and home for that story. And I was like, and then maybe I'd finally see the end because I'm just not good enough at Hades to get to the end of the story, which is the thing that I'm really playing it for. I play Hades for the story, you guys, not for the, hot gods. I swear to God. Yeah, so I think I would just, and it's, it's one of those things where it's a big enough property that you can realistically see it getting like, just anything like a graphic novel adaptation would be awesome of Hades or just, especially because the, realistically, like the art style is a huge part of the appeal as well. So
yeah,
but I mean, you could do so much with that. And because of the way it's structured, there are like, obviously there is a huge amount of built-in lore in that world that you can explore as well. So yeah, I would go for Hades because I think today was the day I finally accepted that maybe I'm not going to finish Hades. So I want to, but
happens to us all.
Don't know if I will.
Right, my turn again. So this question is from David. Thank you, David, from the Discord.
Thanks,
David.
Thanks, David.
Discord David. What indie game that received a negative reception do you think is quite good, actually? I like this one. A lot.
Such a good question. I've got 3 answers, but I did struggle with this. I couldn't find any games that got like negative reception that I liked, but I got 3 that have got like mixed reception that I really liked.
That counts for mine as well. You go first with your 3.
So my first is Maquette. Do you remember this? It was like a recursive. It was a walking sim that had a recursive puzzle mechanic. So there was like the world. There was like these different areas to the world. I don't know how to describe it. Like this big dome in the middle.
Maquette.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like a big dome in the middle, and then you had like 4 different areas around the dome, and you could walk up to them, and they were like scaled correctly. And then you could walk up to a model of them in the middle and like drop things on the model, and it would appear in the world. And you could do the same. You could pull things out, and it would make them bigger and stuff. And a lot of people were a bit down on that because they thought the story was a bit naff. But I actually quite liked the story. I thought it was quite heartfelt and quite mundane in quite a warm way. And I liked Maquette. The next one is The Solitaire Conspiracy by Bithell Games, which was a solitaire game that tried to mash it together with like espionage. Do you like it as well?
Oh yeah. Do people not like
great,
it?
Right? I loved it. No, people were really down on it when it came out, but I loved that game.
I thought it was great.
I thought it was really good. Yeah, me too.
And the teams of people I thought were really cool.
Yeah, they were so good. Yeah, like it was such a fun twist on solitaire.
Come here, I'll just smack them. I've got a fan, everyone. I'm holding a fan. I'm going to smack.
She's holding a knife. It was great, right? That was really fun. And the last one is Industria, which I've spoken about before. It's like a Half-Life-y style first-person shooter set in like an alternate version of Eastern Europe, and I just thought it was wonderful. Really, really loved it. There's a sequel coming out this year that I can't wait for. But again, a lot of people were a bit down on it, and I get why. It was a little bit jank, a little bit short.
Right.
But I don't know. It really, really struck me. So yeah, those are my 3.
How about you, Rebecca? What's
So
your quite good actually?
This is an interesting one because like it got me thinking about a conversation I read in the comments section the other day. By the way, don't go to comment sections ever. They're awful, awful places. But like, no, it did make me think because it was talking about the fact that it was someone responding to someone else's point and saying like indie games tend to score well from reviewers at mainstream outlets because indie games aren't priority for most mainstream outlets, like the one that I still work for, and therefore we tend to focus on the ones that we that we kind of have got good buzz or that we know we're going to like. And so the selection there from a critical perspective tends to be that like, actually, they're mostly pretty good, the ones that get any sort of critical traction whatsoever. So then I thought about like Steam reviews maybe. But then it's like, it kind of has a similar issue in that while I have taken issue with some, like, I can't believe that game's got like a mixed reception, I very rarely, particularly with an indie, see something with a negative reception that I don't kind of agree was deserved. I think AAAs are a little different, but I think that's a whole different kettle of fish when you're talking about like AAAs that suddenly have a mostly negative reception. So again, it's like all I can really go on for this is games that you guys didn't like that I did. So all I could think of was
that's such a good angle. Okay.
Was Full Void, which was one of the games that I actually completed and really enjoyed. Although I did think the second half, the back half was like weaker than a very strong start, but like I still it was a great little like sort of 4-hour dystopian platformer, which is usually not my genre, but I was just really hooked by it and did sit and finish it in basically 2 sittings. And yeah, I think it didn't really get like negative reception. I think overall it was kind of like, it was the perfect 7 out of 10, which a lot of things that I like are, which is why I can't really pick anything out of the noise, because there's usually a bit of an orange tinge to the color coding on the games that I really, really love when you look at Metacritic or whatever, or Steam. But yeah, no, I think that's an example, but really I think that my happy place is in the 7 out of 10s. So it's kind of all games I love, really.
Same. Do you say it took you 4 hours to finish Full Void?
I think it was 4 hours.
I'm going to dunk on Full Void for some reason. Half an hour of gameplay, 3.5 hours of watching that boy die to a steam vent.
See, that's the thing. That is the thing. I thought the first hour
with the same
and a half,
animation.
The first hour and a half were kind of perfect, but then I thought the death did get it got a little bit too.
Is this a disclaimer?
What?
From our first question, disclaimer. It's like, oh yeah, Full Void is good, but.
But
see, I don't know actually, because I still think like I am rubbish at platformers and I still finished it in 4 hours. So like it's not it's a little bit the back half is less vivid and a bit more frustrating than the first half, but other than that I'd be like it's pretty good. If you play the first half and want to know what happens, like it won't set you back that much, because again, cannot stress enough, I'm rubbish at platformers and I finished it.
Nice.
I feel like the noise that he made when he died to that steam vent is like permanently stuck in my brain. It was such an odd noise as well. I really don't want it to catch too many strays.
What is it with you and killing children this episode? That's another child.
So worryingly, my answer to that is this episode. This is not the first time we've had these conversations.
I would actually like to point out that one of the things that really grabbed me about Full Void was the fact that I cared so much about that little bundle of pixels. I thought they were so well animated and so likable, despite being a silent and like basically featureless protagonist, that I was trying not to get them killed. Although the one where you can just open the tank full of water and drown them immediately was quite funny.
I remember that one. It was just beautifully animated again.
Water to the face, they just completely bowl over. It's quite funny, but the rest were distressing. Anyway, how did we get here? What's going on?
So mine is Where the Water Tastes Like Wine. I think this got critically panned. And like I'm looking on Metacritic now, and user score is 5.4, so it's pretty low.
Oh, wow.
This game, I really, really enjoyed it. I remember writing about it, and I remember reading reviews and being like, what's everyone talking about? But, each to their own. I think this game really resonates with me because it does hit all of my very specific likes. I like American Gothic games. I like games about nomads. I like games about traveling across a country and picking up stories. Like all these different kind of very specific things are all in this game. And I just think it's really cool. And I love all the stories. And they have like 13 characters, and each character is written by a different person. And I just think that is so cool and smart. And each character has such a unique perspective, and is kind of like an archetype of America at a certain point in history. And I just think it's really great in American history. It examines and tackles like topics about like American economics and like this kind of these nomad lifestyle in a really cool way. And you play a giant skeleton walking across the US. That's cool as fuck. So yeah, I really resonated with it. But again, very specific Rachel video game likes of mine. So I can see people's point, but it was a great game. It was a great game.
I forget that one's got a fairly negative reception because I had two people whose opinions I trust a lot recommend it to me, and that's kind of my only. I haven't played it yet, but it's my only experience of it. Yeah, I genuinely forgotten that one was not generally well liked. But you make a good case for it. I'm going to play it definitely because
like if you like again Kentucky Route Zero or any games like that, like. Or if you like games in which there's like different characters telling their stories, Salt Sea Chronicles, Spiritfarer to a certain extent. I mean, the gameplay isn't like any of those games, but the sentiment is there.
It's a really great game. I think, and I definitely hit up against the issues that people had with it as well, but stuck with it because I love the writing and the story so much. Fantastic music and amazing narration.
Oh, yeah.
It was too slow paced. I think
very slow paced.
I got what they were trying to do, but actually walking around in that game does take ages. And I know they patched it very soon after release to make him a bit faster. And I don't think they did it enough. And it's such a sad thing because it feels like such a minor point that is sort of blocking people off from this bigger game. And I think that's why a lot of people don't talk about it. But that might be the answer for this question, honestly, is that there is like a great game locked behind a little bit of abrasiveness that a lot of people just couldn't get past.
Yeah, because the landscape in which there's like illustrations which are beautiful, but when you are the skeleton walking across, the landscape changes, but like it's not in a way in which visually you're stimulated for a long period of time for you to be walking for that long as well. There are event points that you can like walk into, but again, it's not exactly that stimulating. Like if you want to call something a walking sim and mean a walking sim, this is a walking sim in that regard. But yeah, it's a shame. I just, but I totally get that point. Fortunately for me, the pacing, I was like, I'm good with this, so I'm fine. But I can see why a lot of people were like, my God, just a little bit. Can you just run a little bit? Just get those bones to just a light trot would do. Just that. You know the when you're crossing a road and there's a car, but you don't want to walk, but you need to hurry. So you kind of do like a half walk, half run. Yeah. Just that. Yeah. But no.
Get those bones moving, boy. There's a society to critique. What are you doing?
Let's go, bony boy. So where the water tastes like wine is mine.
So next question. This is from Sam. They say, what AAA game would be most improved by the introduction of typically indie sensibilities or mechanics? For example, a Call of Duty game where you begin a soulful relationship with your counterpart over the radio as an escape from all the killing. Or FIFA is a locker room dating sim where all the players are sexy, Lovecraftian horrors. Or Red Dead Redemption 3, in which you inherit your grandfather's old homestead and have to live off the land while looking for romance in Valentine. I thought they were all great answers.
Yeah, these are all so
give the
good.
3 correct answers and then ask us to come up with 3 more.
Those are really great. Mine is, and I think I've banged this drum so many times, I would take Starfield, which I've never played in my fucking life, and I would add the mechanics of a delivery person from Lake. So like, you know that she's driving around her hometown and she's delivering packages to like the weirdos. I just feel like if Starfield had that, I feel people might have stuck more with it and been like, you know what, I just want to deliver like packages to weirdos across the galaxy, and I think that would have been cool.
You should play Death Stranding.
I know. I was just gonna say.
Basically what that game
I
is.
have played Death Stranding.
I've played it.
I've played half of it, and the story. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I love Death Stranding. I was like, this game is so cool, but I just thought maybe like Hideo Kojima, I love what you've done, great, but that story is so up its own asshole and inside. I cannot. Die Hard, man. Fuck off. Fuck off. And I don't care. I love the walking, I love the traveling, I like everything about it, but that story, honestly, if I could kill someone actually and bury their body, it'd be everyone from that fucking game. Get in the ground, every single character. And because I loved that game. And you know what? That story was just unbelievably, it's just difficult for me to even get through. The dialogue, the characters, I was just like, fuck my life. Okay, so let's just bring it down from a 10 to a 5. I'm just going to bring it back down.
I think
I didn't know I cared about that game so much until
I can't believe it. I think we spoke about it before and you didn't react like this, so I love that.
Yeah.
But you can't defend any game that has the line, "You're Mario and I'm Princess Peach." Like, you just can't. That, if that's a line in the game, wrap it up. There's two wolves inside me with Death Stranding. Kind of like, I always have two wolves with these AAA games, like Last of Us 1 and 2. I have two wolves inside me with all these AAA games, and I just don't know which wolf at one point is gonna rip arguments apart, and which one is gonna be like, well, actually, games should just be enjoyed. And I'm like, yeah, but also, what are we doing here? Yep. I hate her. I hate all the women characters in this fucking game. I hate them. I hate the baby. I hate everyone. I hate America. I hate. Oh, it's a criticism. It's a criticism. Shut up. Who's saying that? I have no idea. Yeah. Where's my fan?
Yep.
Down. Down. Sit down. Suck on a Capri Sun.
I assume you've never played Metal Gear Solid.
No.
Right, yeah. Because the interview I did with Kaizen, which I guess is out now and everyone's potentially listened to, reminded me of the villain in Peace Walker, which is set during the Cold War, is called Hot Coldman. And
oh, man.
Why would you name your sci-fi main character Paul? It all comes back to that. Why would you do that? Right, okay, let's move on from me. What are you guys doing? What's your AAA
Rebecca,
game?
do you have an answer?
Okay, yes, I do. I've actually thought about this one before. So thank you for the question, which allowed me to refine my idea. And here's the pitch that I've come up with. Cottage Core Forza. There we go.
Say more.
Love
I'm
it.
so locked in.
Elaborate.
Say more.
Approved.
So yeah, genuinely, I was thinking, what is a genre, preferably not one that Sam has already fixed indie-wise in their lovely comment.
Yes,
that I would like to like more than I do. And it's like, I'm not really into racing games, but I did play Forza Horizon 4 and really enjoyed that one. And I was like, what would have improved my experience of Forza Horizon 4 would be if once I was out in the middle of the beautifully rendered countryside of my homeland, getting out the car, going to like a little beautiful secluded cottage, and just pottering round, like doing the little cottage core game things you do, like brewing a little bit of tea, growing some plants, just decorating the place at a gentle pace, and then get out into my sports car, gun it down like Edinburgh Viaduct or whatever for a bit, become a world champion of. I still don't know car stuff, so a world champion of car racing. I don't know, like just enjoy going really fast for a long time, and then come back. Repeat the loop, get more money, get bigger cars. Improve, but actually it's like a listed building, so you can't do too much to the structure, but you can decorate the inside of the building.
Yeah.
I love that in your fantasy AAA game, you're still like, there's limitations to listed buildings though.
I know, it's indie-fied, so you've got to. It all feeds in because indie games just have more production constraints, and so you have to account for that as well.
Love that. That's
Incredible.
Such a good answer.
Drop the mic. I'm
Core
done.
Forza.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
awesome.
thought you were going to say there's no racing in it whatsoever. You remove the racing portion and you're just zipping down in your whatever Audi to just get like some wool and knitting needles from like a local shop.
No, I like
You're
going
like
fast.
blitzing 90 miles an hour there.
I like doing the fast racing bits. I'm not good at them, but I like doing them.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's so funny.
Racing
I love
granny.
Yes.
And what was yours, Liam?
I've sort of twisted this question a little bit in my answer because I feel like my issue with AAA games these days is that they're constantly throwing too many ingredients into the pot. And I actually think the indie sensibility is I want them to focus on just one aspect and vibe, but I want them to throw a AAA budget into that idea.
That's such a good way of looking at this question.
Yes.
So I've been looking at some previews for Assassin's Creed Shadows, and maybe I'll play it. I don't know. It's been a long time since I played an Assassin's Creed game. This one looks all right. But one element of it is that you can do base building. So you can do like really intricate base building in the game, which looks quite cool. And I was thinking, I would just love a AAA farming sim that isn't multiplayer. I don't want a crafting game with other people. I just want like Stardew on a Red Dead Redemption budget, which is basically what Sam said here. But it's really just put in my mind, like, even do it historically. Even like, I want Assassin's Creed Shadows where I'm just building a village in feudal Japan, but like I'm tending the land and I'm going out in the forest and chopping down trees and turning it into a building, and like people will visit my town and I'll have, you know, relationships with them, and all of them are fully voiced by Hollywood A-listers. Like, I want this game to cost £8 billion and I want it to just be 4K Stardew Valley. That's all I want.
That's incredible.
And I just
that is
think
so
that would be
good.
great.
I love that.
I would definitely
wanna
play
see-
that.
Hell yeah.
Haley rendered in the detail
Oh,
of a
here we
Final
go.
Fantasy VII character.
There it is. Hello. Yeah, I'd play the shit out of that. That sounds great. Would you
That'd be
like
amazing.
have systems where it's like water irrigation and all that? Like, would you go proper into the farming element of it, or would it still be like kind of simplistic, like Stardew? Simplistic, I say.
think
but
I'd-
you know what I mean.
I'd probably want it to have, I'd want it to be the depth that you want from it. So like, on the base level, it's Harvest Moon, you know, it's
Love
the
that.
simple basic stuff, but then you can do more with it and really get into the you know, the knottiness of farming. Like, not full farming simulator, because that is tedious and boring as fuck, but like, there's got to be like a
had
middle
this
ground there.
when you said Harvest Moon, this vision in my mind. Everything looks like hyper realistic, but the cows are the beautiful
Still the
round
same.
Harvest
yeah.
Moon
I'd
cows.
love that.
Almost
I'd
rectangular,
absolutely
but
love
with the
that.
rounded edges. They're so cute.
So
Yeah.
Hold on, I think-
cute.
Behind me somewhere, there is a Story of Seasons Buffalo plushie that was my first ever piece of games journalist
really?
tat that I got sent.
Hold on.
Fucking
They
A
sent you
plushie.
They sent you a
Somewhere, yeah.
plushie. They sent me a pack of highlighters for the remake they did of It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I got one of those grow your own like miniature garden seed kits. And
That's
a
what
plushie
I
and
got
some
as
stickers.
well.
Did you get one?
I got.
Oh, nice.
I know I didn't get the
You saw me
plushie, but
coming.
I got the grow your own garden. I think I'm pretty sure
Oh.
I got. They love sending
wow.
grow your own bullshit in PR.
Yeah,
tab.
but she's very special to me as Buffy the Buffalo because she was my first piece of press merch.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My first. I don't have it anymore. I wish I kept it. Was World of Tanks glass tankard,
Tankard. I mean, World of Tanks,
and
but
it was
tankard.
fucking ugly.
Oh,
I think I can top you on cursed first press kits.
go on.
My first ever press kit was for Wanted Dead. You remember that? The
Oh,
game
God,
that no one liked
vaguely.
and
Oh,
critically
I
tanked. Yeah.
I think I remember
think-
what it was.
And they sent a huge box that had a fake grenade in it. It had
Yeah.
a cookbook. It had a bunch of vinyls and CDs. And then they sent me 2 for some reason.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
And I think that and the highlighters from Story of Season are the only tat I ever got in my entire games career.
Oh man, you gotta.
So much tat.
Oh,
2
I love that for
boxes.
you.
God damn.
Yeah,
But yeah.
that's heartbreaking.
Great
I'm so
question.
sorry.
So we have, looking at the time, I think we have time for one last question.
Okie
Yes.
dokie.
And
Agreed.
we've arguably saved one of the best to last because this was so hyper specific to
I
one
know.
particular person on the podcast that I put it at the end.
This one is from Jam Warrior, and thank you, Jam Warrior. 'cause I
Jammy!
feel so seen
Jammy!
right now. Thank you. So Dan Warrior has asked, what monster archetype would you assign to each of the host's teenage personalities if they were appearing in Monster Prom? And I misread this the first time. I missed the word teenage. Usually that would require some level of adjusting my plan, but I'm still essentially teenage Rebecca, just in a, in a 20 years tired a body, so that's fine. I thought we could work on this together. I thought this would be more of a collaborative sort of effort.
Okay, like, Monster Prom characters.
Just pick a supernatural, like, honestly, like, side note, literally yesterday I played the demo for Monster Prom 4. And at the time, I signed a lot of stuff because I'm a Kickstarter backer that was like, keep this demo under your hat. And today they released the demo on Steam. So I'm saying that discussion of the details is probably fine by the time this episode goes out. But I would say, basically, if you can think of some sort of cryptid or supernatural creature or golden age horror monster, it's probably in there by now because they're on game 4. So, like, we can go nuts. We can go wild here.
Ooh, I'm looking at the characters on the wiki page. They're so cute. Rebecca, you go first with who you would want to be, or who you associate yourself with.
See, I think that despite the fact that I do not have anything like the personality of the Monster Prom character, I think I could rock being a ghost. I could rock being the sort of like, because, you know, I don't know if it comes across because this is, you know, in the podcast, I'm with my friends, I'm very comfortable, I'm quite outgoing, but I can be like quite withdrawn and quite shy. I can sometimes, you know, be that person who will say something and everyone else in the room is like, oh my God, there's someone in here. So and I also think, like, I like the power of that as well, the kind of double-edged sword of, like, sometimes you're a little bit, especially in a group, sometimes you're a little bit invisible, but then you can really sort of, you can really draw attention by suddenly popping in. So that's my initial feeling on me. But like I say, it's a workshop. It's a workshop. We can.
I'm having a look through. There's this little green jellyfish called Noodles.
Oh, Noodles is like my favorite character.
Fucking cute.
Actually, Rachel, you have got such Noodles energy. This is so specific to me and Mick and like the 2 people maybe in the Discord who've played Monster Prom. But yes, big Noodles energy for Rachel. I like that.
I will go with Noodles then.
Noodles is
very
great.
Cute.
Yeah.
who just looks loud, which I think definitely.
Looking at this like, little creature, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I will pick Noodles. Noodles looks very cute. And very
you have
round.
Noodles energy, definitely.
Oh my goodness.
These character designs are great. So Liam, who are you resonating with?
Oh God, I'm just looking here. Well, there is one called Liam. That seems like the easier option.
There is. You can be vampire hipster Liam, should you choose.
Are there any characters that are sort of like apologetic to a fault?
Oh, yes, actually.
Think they're funnier than they are.
No, that's not. We're not going with that part of the description, but you could totally rock Oz, I think. The personification of fear and phobia, if you wanted to go apologetic to a fault, that would certainly work.
Oz might work, actually.
Yeah,
I'm trying to look for them. Oh, he's so cute. You're the little dude on the shoulder.
Oh, yes. Oh,
there you are. There's the person, and then there you are on the shoulder, Liam. Just a little guy.
Great.
Just a
That's
little
it.
guy.
That is me. I'm just a little guy.
You know what?
Little guy.
I love it. So we got Noodles, we got Oz, and yeah, look at Sadie. I think I'd be Sadie, actually.
Sadie.
Who is essentially like the girl from The Ring, but in a really
she's
got mad hair. She's so tired
that.
all the time. She's so done with everything. She's definitely got like a sort of like weird aura, but she's actually just doing very normal things most of the time. I think I could rock that.
Incredible.
Okay. I think that's going to be the thumbnail for this episode, is the Indie Venture logo and then those 3 characters stood
Rachel's
around it.
face inside Noodles' little round. Right, okay. I have to say, actually, because this is the drum that I want to bang constantly, which is beautiful glitch, makers of Monster Prom, Noodles plushie Wen. Oh my God.
Come on now.
I think you've said that before, haven't
Noodles
you?
plushie.
Let's go
Wen.
Noodles plushie.
Yes, I'm sure I have, because I'm going to keep saying it. I've got my Juan plushie behind me. He's doing great, but he's lonely because he's the only one I have.
Oh, the cat. Is it the cat?
Juan, the small
Yeah, the
magical
cat.
Latino cat.
Juan,
terrier.
fantastic.
Well, thank you for all those questions.
Yeah,
They're
thank
all
you.
amazing.
That was lovely.
Yeah, everyone on the
Very fun.
Discord, thank you. And yeah, we'll definitely do another one at some point. So chuck your questions.
Oh yeah,
in.
keep them coming. This is so fun, and honestly, like it's a great
Yeah,
so it's a great format for us because it cuts our scripting time like so.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
and
massively, yeah.
Not by that
and I
much. 'cause
do
we
like
still
how
have to,
unhinged they are.
I love
do
how
like that.
unhinged they are. We still have to like pick them and like script them.
Yeah.
It's not, but like
Yeah.
they are. So you come up with questions that I would be afraid to ask like socially. So
Yeah,
True. Yes, very true.
Sorry if we didn't get around to answering your question, but some of them I was like, ooh, that would make a great pod episode. So maybe
Yeah.
your question reserved for that. I know that, we only have a certain amount of time. But yeah, thanks everyone for getting your questions
yeah, thank
in.
you.
Thanks.
And we shall swiftly move on to our second topic. I think all of us have been kind of like getting very excited about behind the scenes, but we haven't had the opportunity to actually talk to each other yet, which is talking about the new Lost Records tape 1 of Bloom and Rage, which is Dontnod's new series in which you play a bunch of teenage protagonists, and like Rebecca alluded to earlier in the episode, ooky spooky fun times. Rebecca, I want you to kick us off.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because as the Life is Strange expert lawkeeper, I want to know
Yeah.
your what were you anticipating before you went in? What did you want from the game? And did the game live up to your expectations? And me and Liam can chip in as we go.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so good. Yeah, so it's a weird one for me going in because obviously it's by the original makers of Life is Strange. It's their new independent venture now that Life is Strange is living with like Square Enix after the divorce. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's a great way of putting it.
yeah, I mean, I think my expectations going in were pretty much like having played all of the Life is Strange games by both developers that have worked on it, having played like Tell Me Why, which is the other Dontnod game that's very similar but not in that series. I was kind of expecting another thing on the like Tell Me Why scale, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that was like 3 episodes, and it came out in 2020. Like quite rapid episode. I think it was weekly just for like, and that was published. So that was published by Xbox Game Studios. This is an independent. I misspoke a couple of episodes ago. I said it was their second self-published game. It's actually their third. I forgot Harmony: The Fall of Reverie because I bounced off that game so hard. I like wiped it out of my
Oh,
memory.
yeah.
Yeah.
Apologies. So it is actually Harmony: The Fall of Reverie, Juicant, and now Lost Records, Bloom and Rage are their 3 self-published ones, I believe. So yeah, I just went in like, so we're talking Life is Strange, but a different IP. And I hadn't really thought too much about it beyond that. I hadn't built up a lot of expectations beyond that. So the thing that struck me initially was that you can feel definitely the indiness of it. It does feel a little bit smaller than some of the games that they've done attached to bigger publishers in terms of like the cast is really only about 6 characters that you see on screen. The locations are... It felt strange to me coming off the back of knowing Life is Strange really well that you never see the town, even though the sort of like the kind of like society of this town is such a huge part of the story. You still very much see the outskirts. And that's not a criticism. That I think very well serves the themes. It just felt like almost every Life is Strange game has like a main street that you walk down and you kind of observe the way that, and to not have that immediately sets it up as something a little bit different. I really enjoyed it. Inevitably, I think comparisons come up to Life is Strange Double Exposure, which came out last October. I cannot say which I like best yet, partly because we're only halfway through Lost Records and just because I think they take very diverging approaches to where that concept is now 10 years after the first Life is Strange game came out. So it's across 2 timelines. It is a huge It reference by Stephen King. And even though it's actually one of my least favorite Stephen King novels, I love the TV and movie adaptations, so I was obviously very jazzed. It takes place in 2 timelines. It starts in 2022, and it's been pointed out as well that I think it's a good detail, is it is very grounded in 2022 in that everyone has masks in their pockets but no one's wearing them. And there are like still there's a lot of signage, there's a lot of like pandemic era signage up that isn't really remarked on, but it's still it's a great way of just like very much setting your game in 2022. So these women who were friends in high school have come back to their hometown to meet for the first time in 27 years, It reference. to discuss the fact that one of their families who still lives in this town, they've all kind of left, but one of the families has received a package like just dumped on the doorstep that seems to be addressed to them. It is addressed to Bloom and Rage, which was the band that they were in together in high school. And so it's drawn these friends back together after like nearly 3 decades apart. They've come back from their very disparate lives to try and work out what happened, because they kind of have realised that they don't remember very much about what happened the last summer that they were all together when they were sort of 16, 17. But the majority of the episode actually takes place in 1995, which is the era that's obviously being harkened back to. And it's as they start to talk in the present and they uncover memories of what happened, and it starts to kind of slowly, it's the first episode, and I think this is very deliberate, is quite a lot coming of age drama and a few weird things happening that build towards the end of the episode. I feel like episode 2 is going to be weirder. I feel like it has to be. But I do think that I like it because I'm always saying that kind of my favourite part of these story-based adventure games is often the build-up, is the setting the scene and the getting to know the characters, and literally Lost Records have dedicated almost a full half of their runtime, as far as I understand it, to that, which I think is very lovely, and I want to let someone else talk.
So Liam, what do you go next? What were your expectations? And then how did you feel when you were playing it? And how do you feel about it in general? As someone how many Life is Strange, are you even familiar? Like,
no.
Interesting.
I think
so let's get into it.
Main exposure was me desperately texting because I needed to talk to someone about double exposure while I was reviewing it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That's why I was curious about your take on this, Rachel. So I played the first episode of Life is Strange back in the day, and I thought it was really boring. I just never got into it, and I've never liked a Dontnod game, honestly. Every one I've played, I've always just thought they've been a little bit not quite where I want them to be. But I loved this. I really, really loved it. I thought it was it wasn't an advancement in any way of the formula. It's still very much rooted in that classic modern adventure game style that was defined by Telltale, 12, 13 years ago. But I think it's very confident in the story it wants to tell. And even though really, I would argue not much really happens in this first tape, but I had such a nice time. And the main characters, the four, you play as a young woman called Swan, and she, at the very start of the game, she meets these 3 other young women, Nora, who's this punky skateboarder, guitar player, Autumn, who's sort of the more reserved person, and the adult version of Autumn is the one you speak to most in the 2022 sections, and then Kat is like this almost mysterious daughter of almost like a land baron in the area, who has these horrible older sibling and a horrible her horrible boyfriend. They were all such a good hang. I was just enjoying spending so much time with them. And I think the way that it sort of presents the hazy 90s summer was beautiful. I really loved the awkwardness between them and how that was presented. I think me and you were talking about this, Rachel, the cringiness of teenager life is presented very authentically and very well observed in this game.
Yeah, it's so adorable.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. And
really
I think I said to you, the way I described it was, I would die for all of these, but I would not want to spend any time with them as an adult.
Yes.
That's very real.
They really are annoying teenagers in the most adorable
They are,
way.
But it's very authentic. I really liked it. I was really invested in the story. I thought the dual timeline, the way it would bounce back to 2022 and the way that the characters would speak over things that were happening in 1995, these adult versions of them, I thought was a very nice little narrative trick, because it allowed them to do a couple of different things. It allowed your choices to feel like they had consequences, because it felt like they were rippling out 27 years into the future. But one other thing I really loved is that this was a game that I felt like it didn't shy away from what it was like in the 90s. It was quite confident in talking about things like homophobia and, even just like derogatory terms for women and things like that.
Slut shaming.
Yes, slut shaming. And what was really interesting about that particular line of dialogue is that you play as Swan. You can choose a couple of lines of dialogue when one of the characters calls their sister a slut, and then you can choose to like double down on that.
Which is so fucking funny, by the way. I'm just like, it's like, she's such a slut, but it's like they're doing it because it's a bad word and they're teenagers. They don't fucking mean it. Like, it's so endearing. Yeah. And then, of course.
But that's what's great about that is that so I chose like the harshest answer by Swan because I was curious what would happen. Yeah. And what happened is that the adult version of her in her 40s was like, I can't believe how much we would just use that word. We didn't really understand it. We were just throwing it around. And I just think it lets them, be quite real in that sense. But yeah, I really loved it. I really, really had a great time with it.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was so good. Because I'm squarely in the middle of you two. Like, I really like the Life is Strange series, but they've not been my favorite, and I didn't get along with Double Exposure at all. So I very much was looking forward to Dontnod returning. Because again, I liked Jusant, but did not play Fall of the Reverie. I played Tell Me Why, and I really enjoyed that. So it was, bit hit and miss. But God, I really fucking loved Lost Records. And I went in so open-minded. I went in like, if it's just about a group of girls having a cute time and, there's a bit of drama, like I'm locked in, I'm happy. But the topics explored, the themes, the characters, it's also nuanced in a way that is totally relatable, but also very, very, a very refreshing look at teenagehood that doesn't feel like trodden territory before. Definitely. And like I just feel like Dontnod were just absolutely on it for this game. I fell in love with everything and everyone. It was just really great. Even the way they did the kind of supernatural twist, which, not avoiding spoilers, but in the trailer, there's a big pit. The girls get called to it from the woods. And there's kind of like a weird moment where they're staring into this kind of like bottomless void. And there's like, they're bathed in like this strange purple light. And I just love that abstract supernaturalness over, I'm a tween with superpowers. Woo! Like, I very much wanted more weird.
Yeah, they tease that a couple of times. And then they subvert it a lot. The idea that like it's they sort of like tease you like, does one of these girls have superpowers? And then it's like, no, maybe the town does, but these
thank God,
because
I'm fatigued of kids with superpowers. I don't mind weird shit happening, but I want it to be weird, and I don't want it to be so, I'm an awkward teen, so I have the power of invisibility. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've been there, we've done it.
Exactly.
I just thought it was great, and we had such a good time. And like, the music is so, I said we had such a good time because I'm with the girls. We had such a great time. The music was dreamy. It was
soundtrack's great.
Just everything I wanted, and I can't wait for tape 2. I literally can't wait. Even if they fudge that landing, I do feel like tape 1 did feel like its own thing. I thought, is it a setup? No, it's not. It's like its own thing. It feels great. Yeah, I can't wait for tape 2. I'm surprised with how much I enjoyed it. I really am. Like, I thought I'd just like it, but like, it could be game of the year for me. Like, it's that high up. God, we haven't even talked about the camera mechanic. The fact that you as Swan are given a camera, a camcorder, and you're given the freedom to record the environment in short clips and then arrange those clips into home videos. And the game does this in a very streamlined way where you are given kind of guidance with where you can record and what you can record, and a kind of a checklist of items if you want to go down that way. But in terms of like angles and zooming in and out and like what you want to record, it's like totally down to you. And I love that freedom. It is just so creative. It's just a nice little break when I can just sit down, rearrange them in like a kind of a weird order and just pick the clips which I like and just have it play before my eyes. Like, it is so fucking cool. I'm just like, oh my God, I know why Swan is into this. Like, I'd be into this. Like, this is so fucking dope.
I think I said it when I did the preview last summer. I was like, Dontnod can't resist an artsy protagonist, but I like that you have like an unprecedented level of control over the art that the protagonist is producing in this game. That's something they've kind of like advanced on. There's no other way to look at that, right? It's an advance on, like in Life is Strange 1 as Max, it tells you what photos to take. In Life is Strange 2 as Sean, you can make, you can choose like from A and B options for his sketches, but that's kind of it. Similar in Tell Me Why, you can kind of do the memory elements with, again, A and B options, but this is more of a like actually very open. You can even, I think you can, film stuff that the game isn't telling you to film. You can't really do much with it, but like you can just have that film of that moment if that's what you want to rewatch. It is a really fun like way of thinking about playing a character who has like a craft or an artistic like pursuit, which I thought was really nice.
And thematically, it just makes so much sense. Like she's literally viewing the world through a camcorder, and you share that experience with her. Right, so there we go. Tape 1 has the Indie Venture approval stamp at the moment. We will be talking about Tape 2 because we obviously, all three of us have really enjoyed this game.
For sure.
So definitely listen for those in the future. But for now, we must wrap up this episode with some hyperfixations. Who wants to go first? I will pick.
Awkward every single time.
I will pick. I will choose. I'll go first.
The upset, the drama.
The drama, the upset. No, mine's very boring. I'm just still really into Housewives. I love that. I've been watching every fucking day. I love it so much. I'm almost at the end of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. It is wild. They're just going to confront one of the housewives making a burner account which leaks information about the other housewives. The drama is insane. Also, the woman that I was talking, like I might have mentioned her. She was like, under like they were all in like the van, and then the FBI and NYPD showed up to arrest her, and she had like gone. Yeah, she's now in jail and is still in jail and will be in jail for like another couple years. So that was interesting.
Oh my God. Wow.
But this whole idea about like I really enjoyed this season because obviously there's drama, but also the way that reality TV is formatted and the politics around it. Like she was using the show to very obviously come across as like, as her trial was impending, she had the show to kind of like basically show herself as a certain kind of person.
Oh my God.
And it was really interesting to see those moments where she was like, I'm just a good God-fearing woman, and like the way that she was presenting herself in like all these situations was just really fucking funny, and the way that the show was perpetuating that kind of side of her while also getting access to like her legal advisor who would be on a call with her. Like there was a very obvious exchange happening on screen, and it was just really interesting to watch. So that was interesting. But yeah, drama. It's just been great. I'm really into it. I'm so happy.
I love this for you.
Next Fest, who's she? I'm watching The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City this week.
Next Fest is very far in the rearview mirror by the time this episode comes out.
True. That's true. No one needs to know that it's literally this week at the time of recording.
Yeah.
Yes.
Start to do it.
And I was asked to do a roundup, but I said no because they take so long, and I just needed.
That's fair.
Honestly, it's a really slammed. I'm involved in one for work, and I'm a little bit worried about my deadline for it because there's just a lot going on in the world of games media at the moment. So
yeah,
I'm sure
the Discord will have plenty of suggestions. Yeah. So this is the join the Discord episode. This is the join the Discord episode. Klaxon.
Sponsored, not really, but technically, yes.
There's a channel in there called Cool Demos. That's literally just for things like Next Fest.
Hell yeah.
Yes. Get yourself in there. Share your takes.
Mine is Housewives. Rebecca, you. Next.
All right. Mine's probably quite boring as well. Been summoned. So you know Animal Crossing New Horizons, the game that I have like 850 hours in. Right?
No, I don't think so.
What's that?
Okay, so do not make me explain Animal Crossing even for a bit. That's gonna break me at this point. It got one DLC before they kind of stopped supporting it. Did you know that you can actually finish the story of that DLC? Because I was vaguely aware that there was an ending to it, but I thought I was much further away than I was. So I sat down one evening when I was on my own because Mick was away for work. I'm just gonna do a little bit of cute, like happy home paradise designing, and ended up like running smack into the end of the story of this DLC.
Really? Oh my God.
It is really, really cute. There were tears. I was just there watching. watching. So I genuinely have agonized over whether this is a spoiler, but I do want to talk about it a little bit because, you know, you've been working, like making vacation homes for these cute animals for however long. You've like built up this island where they can all go and hang out, and then like they sort of take you to the beach. It's all like a massive rave. A boat comes out with KK Slider on it, who then plays unique DJ remixes of all of the songs from the game. It's incredible.
Oh, wow.
I was literally, it was just there like 34-year-old woman cries at DJ remix of KK Dirge. It was so good. I hung around in the game for like half an hour listening to this, and I was like, no, I'm just listening to the same thing over again. So obviously, like, then I went on YouTube and found the soundtrack and just listened to that all weekend. Yeah, no, it was a good time. It feels noteworthy to have technically finished the entire story of Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Damn.
Only
that's wild.
However many years later.
Hell yeah.
So that was an unexpected bit of fun. I wish I could remember where I might actually put the playlist for the music in the show notes, because I've definitely been.
You should definitely do that.
Been enjoying. Again, like I say, you don't understand how good a DJ remix of KK Doge is going to hit until you hear it. It's just,
I'm going to listen to that the second we stop recording.
Tears streaming down your face.
It's so beautiful. But I thought we had more time.
I understand the emotional reaction considering how many hundreds of hours you've put into that game.
Yeah.
But just the thought of you bawling, like, you know, snot, tears, and all you can hear is whap, whap, whap.
The real tears came out when I found out that a year or two ago in Tokyo, I think, there was a live performance of this entire DJ set.
I think I might have seen a bit of that actually.
It was
a hologram, right?
Yeah, it's all like up on screens. They have little.
Like
it's just the way
Hatsune Miku kind of.
All the little animals come out and do a little dance. Like all of the villagers come out basically, and just when you see one you like, and you're like, that's Judy. It's such a good time.
With the glow sticks.
Yeah, it's a very
like a Vocaloid concert.
It is a very weird, like very Japanese. I am assured this is an authentic Japanese experience of going to a concert, in that everyone is seated, fairly quiet, but like totally going nuts with the glow sticks. It's really it's a really good time.
My kind of concert.
Right? I know, right?
Where you sit
I
down.
saw people in the comments being like, shouldn't you be on your feet? And I'm like, nah, I quite like a sit down, to be honest.
Nice.
Again, on your feet in the mosh pit for map, 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 map.
Oh, the music though. You gotta listen to it. Go listen to it and then tell me what you think.
Oh yeah, okay.
Anyway, that's me.
And
Love
Liam, what's yours?
Yeah, so I finished Indiana Jones and the Great Circle this week, or last week even, but I finally finished everything this morning, 100% done.
Oh, nice.
Love that game. That game's a 10 out of 10. Absolutely bloody loved it.
Oh, fuck.
But last episode, I did my apparently 2025 thing of saying, oh my God, I finished too many games. I'm going to talk about some games. And some people in the Discord said that they liked that. So I'm going to talk about a game I played again this week.
Ooh.
So I randomly finished over the course of 2 days, because I can't stop playing games, a game that came out last year called Parking Garage Rally Circuit. Have you heard of this?
No. What's that?
So this came out last year. It's by Wallaby Entertainment LLC. It's a PS1 styled time trial based rally game where you are in these little chunky rally cars, but you're zooming around parking garages in the US. So basically like multi-story car parks. And it's so, like, the controls are so tight. So it controls like Crash Team Racing or a classic Mario Kart, where you're like one-to-one, like there's no driftiness with these games, or drifting is a bad word to use, but like floatiness with these cars. All you're basically doing is trying to get around them, and it's all really tight corners because it's a parking garage. So you're constantly drifting and trying to chain those drifts. And on each level, there's a car that represents the gold medal, the silver medal, the bronze medal, and you're just trying to beat that gold medal to get there. There's only like 8 levels, and then there's 3 different cars to go around those 8 levels, and each car has different handling. So there's like a really small, slow car, it's like a really heavy car, and then like a really fast car that makes it ridiculous to go around these parking garages. And it's just like, it's great. It reminded me a lot of the Ollie Ollie games or Trials, in that the point of the game is to, restart really fast and try and beat those times. And it took me like 4 hours to get gold on every single track, and I just had a great time with it. I think it's a really great game. It was on sale last week for about £4, and that was £4 well spent right there. Had an absolute blast with
Love
this.
that feeling.
Nice.
Absolute banger. So, yep, that's my hyperfixation. I can't stop playing games. I finished 12 this year now.
Holy
and
crap.
Whoa, nice.
Nearly finished a 13th. So, yep.
Wow.
A 14th,
Look at him
actually.
go!
Nearly finished 2 more.
I know, right?
I can't stop playing games. It's ridiculous. But, yep.
Yay!
It's good.
Hooray.
Yay! And so now we've reached the end of the episode. Thank you to everyone once again for sending in your questions.
Thanks so
The
much,
Discord, Indie Venture Podcast. Please join the Discord. It's just really nice, like we've said before. Great recommendations, great demos, good chat, good time.
There's a link right there in the show notes.
We ban and boot anyone we don't like, which hasn't happened so far, so that's nice.
Yeah. No, everyone's been super nice. It's been great.
Yeah, they
Everyone's
have,
been
yeah.
great. But yeah, that brings us to the end. Thank you so much for listening. And I will leave Liam's cute little outro bit to say all our emails and stuff. But yeah, contact at indieventurepodcast.co.uk if you want to just get in touch for any reason. But yeah, speak to you all soon. Goodbye.
Bye.
Aw.
I felt like mine was howling at the moon, like, goodbye.
Indie Venture is a video games podcast created, produced, hosted, and edited by Rachel Watts, Rebecca Jones, and me, Liam Richardson. For more information, including a list of every game we mentioned in this episode, make sure to check out our website, indieventurepodcast.co.uk. You can get in touch by sending your questions, comments, and feedback to contact@indieventurepodcast.co.uk. You can support the show by rating us 5 stars and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or your preferred podcast provider of choice. Some of the games we talk about on the show may have been provided to us for free for review consideration. Our intro music and stings were composed for us by Ollie Newbury. Check the episode description to hear more of his excellent tunes. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks for another episode of Indie Venture. Bye for now.